History was made yesterday as President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the first indigenous refinery in Nigeria, the 18.5 billion Dangote petroleum refinery complex in Lekki, Lagos. Owner of the facility, Africa's richest man and global business icon Alhaji Aliko Dangote, received tons of applause and massive ovation from the creme de la creme of the business world. Heads of state from Ghana, Togo, Niger, and Senegal, and a representative of the president of Chad graced the occasion. Buhari said the modern refinery will enable Nigeria to achieve self-sufficiency in refined products and even have surplus for exports. He said he was optimistic that President-elect Bola Tinubu will sustain the enhanced business environment that facilitated such a project.
A year ago, you had to welcome you to this commemoration of the commissioning of the Dangote.
Let me therefore congratulate the Chairman, the board and management of the Dangote Group for achieving this remarkable feat. Excuse me. Thank you sincerely for the invitation. I am informed that this complex has the capacity to process 650,000 barrels a day of crude, which will enable our country to achieve self-sufficiency in refined products and even have some surplus for export. This clearly makes this event a notable milestone for our economy and a game changer for the downstream petroleum products market, not only in Nigeria, but the entire African continent.
Over 2 decades ago, we made the commitment to invest in the downstream petroleum sector in response to the increasing shortages of petroleum products in our country and the consequent challenges on our economy and its negative impact on the lives and livelihoods of our people. Initially, we thought to enter into the industry by acquiring the brownfield refineries under the federal government's privatization program in 2007. Regrettably, the outcome of the exercise was reversed and our payments returned. This motivated us to rethink our market entry strategy and our business model. We subsequently committed to enter the market boldly with a vision to invest in a greenfield refinery that will transform the industry in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. And that is why we went for the biggest refinery ever built in the world.
Dangote Refinery, which has the capacity to produce 650,000 barrels of crude per day, is the largest single train in the world. Given its processing capacity, this refinery is more than able to meet all of Nigeria's domestic fuel consumption, whilst the excess production will be available for export. This will not only aid our domestic production needs, but also help in generating export revenue for our country.
This no doubt offers opportunity for efficiencies, better value, and improved governance as healthy competition always offsets market monopoly. The benefits will be real and tangible for consumers, as well as the economy and the country more generally. This remarkable achievement by this very extraordinary visionary is not taking place in a vacuum.
A lot of talk about Aya.
Oh yes, I'm glad. Again, congratulations to Alhaji Aliko Dangote. Yesterday was a big day for him and was a successful inauguration, commissioning, launch, whatever, the different names that have been used to describe what happened yesterday. As was said, it was the who is who was in attendance, not just in terms of leadership and governance, but also the private sector, captains of industry. It was a celebration, not just for Nigeria, but for Africa. We had the heads of states from Ghana, Togo, Niger Republic, Senegal, a representative from the president of Chad. I heard it was actually his junior brother that came. So a high-level delegation in that way. And then, of course, we saw the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the biggest black nation in the world, there speaking and expressing his pride and gratitude for such a private sector-led investment in the nation and highlighting some of the benefits of this first indigenous refinery in Nigeria. Now, going to some of the speeches or highlights of what was said, I think quite interesting and I think worthy of note is what the CBN governor said, and even Alhaji Aliko Dangote is agreeing that the CBN governor, aside from the top management staff of Dangote refineries, he's been perhaps one of the persons who's been there the most. And he praised the support of the CBN in terms of access to finance. It was important for the CBN governor to highlight the fact that about 70% of the loan taken for the $18.5 billion project has been paid back. So that's something to note, that they said it has been paid back. And then he also talked about the potentials in terms of up to $30 billion savings in foreign exchange for the nation and inflows of $10 billion. Massive saving, massive income for the economy and worthy of note, especially for all. Also, questions around when the first products from the refinery would be out was answered, because yesterday we had the chat about it. A number of people had explored, okay, it's not just about commissioning, it's also as to when would it be operative and when would we begin to see these gains that have been spoken about. According to the founder, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, the first product should be expected, petroleum products should be expected end of July, early August. So that's something to look forward to. It was also highlighted yesterday by our guest that it doesn't mean it will be PMS. We have other petroleum products that we should expect in that way, but it is progressive. Long term are these gains that we're hoping to get. Then, in addition to that, I want to spotlight what the president said in terms of this is what happens when a government provides an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. He said that he encourages other great entrepreneurs to emulate this iconic Nigerian industrialist and join the government in accelerating our growth in order to realize our country's globally recognized economic potential. And we alluded to the point yesterday that we hope that other entrepreneurs would have that enabling environment and enabling facility to have businesses like this, great initiatives like this, because we must emphasize that this couldn't have been done without the support of the government, especially the relationship that the Dangote Group enjoys with the Nigerian government. And we're hoping that it wouldn't be peculiar to one man, but that same grace will be extended to other business owners who want to not just build their refineries, but other organizations or other establishments like this. Now, finally, I'd just like to say some of the things that just highlight again or emphasize some of the things that we talked about yesterday. All right, so I'll move on. But very important is the opportunities for businesses around the Lekki-Beju area. Think of the hotels that have to be built, the real estate sector in that area. Look at business opportunities in terms of restaurants, that when tourist destinations, perhaps even for those who will be visiting that establishment, a big win, and I hope ripple effects as well.
Dr. Batu?
Well, we have spoken at length on this subject, but I guess a post-mortem after the event is still in order, and we are at liberty to repeat some of the things that we have said. Yes, it's been said that this is a milestone. This is history made. This is a significant development in terms of the attempt to further energize, reform, reactivate the downstream sector of the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. And this has been long expected. Before now, the usual analysis is to say, oh, we're all waiting for the Dangote refinery, 650,000 barrels of refined crude oil, 900,000 tons of polypropylene, well, and then fertilizer, and so many other products within the value chain. And now it's a reality. Also a high point, personally, for President Muhammadu Buhari, because when later this is fully activated and is on stream, as Alhaji Dangote pointed out, it's a milestone, it's a journey, so which means that there's still a lot to be expected. It should be remembered that it happened in the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, and some people have said, oh, maybe that's symbolic. Whatever it is, it's an indication of, part of the legacy that we've been talking about. And that legacy is built on a very strong foundation, as the president himself pointed out, of public-private sector partnership. He talked about providing an enabling environment and all of that. Well, we don't know whether, you know, a lot of claims can be made in terms of enabling environment because of challenges that still exist. And I think, was it Adigun, Mr. Adigun, who was on this program, who pointed out that indeed this is a journey because there are still other challenges that will have to be addressed. But if, you know, Alhaji Dangote and the Dangote Group's record, you know, is something to go by, you can be sure that as an investor who has recorded great success in other aspects of the economy, you can expect from him, as is customary with him, you know, great commitment, you know, great focus on the objectives. Nobody will put together an investment of $18.5 billion and not pay very close attention to its success. So it's a big moment, not just for Nigeria, but also for West Africa, and also, you know, for the whole of Africa, the largest single train facility in Africa and in the whole world, given the, you know, scope of this particular project. So it takes a lot of courage for anybody to go in this direction. And that is why I keep saying that the likes of Alhaji Aliko Dangote are those diamonds who make things happen. These are people who invest in their own country. And in the process, you know, we see a lot of knock-on effects, developments, job creation, value added. The CBN governor was saying, well, the Dangote Group has been able to pay up to about 70% of whatever facility, and that this is a project that should help, you know, the foreign exchange, and also in terms of value addition, beyond the $30 billion foreign exchange inflow, also about $10 billion also. And the central bank governor, Governor Emefiele, given his position, certainly knows, you know, what he's talking about. We're not also surprised at the NNPCL, the group managing director, Mr. Mele Kyari, is also excited by the project and has said, look, this will further signal, you know, the NNPC Limited's commitment to domestic refinery. Well, President Muhammadu Buhari made a point that he is very optimistic that the Tinubu administration will continue, you know, to provide an enabling environment for business. Yes, that's everybody's expectation. But, you know, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has urgent issues that he needs to deal with. The challenge of security, the challenge particularly of fuel subsidy removal. Will this translate, as both President Buhari and Alhaji Aliko Dangote pointed out, to self-sufficiency in terms of domestic production? Well, I think both Adigun and one other person that I quoted who sent me a message said, look, this refinery will produce 650,000 barrels of refined crude. But in terms of, you know, consumption in Nigeria, what it will be able to provide is 35.4 million liters. And we're told by the experts that Nigeria consumes on a daily basis about 50 million liters. There are persons who query that number. And some people are saying, well, if that is the case, if that figure that has been put out there is correct, then it means that there may still be a shortfall. And if there is a shortfall, you still need to deal with the challenge of subsidy. And, you know, that's a big elephant in the room. But as, you know, an indication of patriotic commitment to one's country, as a demonstration of the value of public-private sector partnership, as an indication that this would have many positive knock-ons in terms of job creation, in terms of helping with forex exchange, in terms of helping to check smuggling, in terms of creating opportunities, both for community and for individuals, then of course this is something to be congratulated. As I said yesterday, it was a question of who was not there. If I was not too busy yesterday, I probably would also have shown up there to congratulate the Dangote Group. After all, when they started one of their cement plants, I was the master of ceremony years back at that particular event. So we're all excited, and we look forward to the many benefits that will accrue from this, you know, big investment.
You see, when I keep saying here that Dr. Abad is a big man, he should stop calling himself masses. He keeps saying, no, we should not say that. He was too busy to be able to attend that Dangote Refinery opening. He's a very busy man. He's a big man. I'm privileged to be sitting here with a big man every morning.
So yesterday I was busy.
Yeah, I know. He had a lot of engagement. I was just, but real quickly, Dr. Batami, I think you said it all. I hear you too, you said it all. Congratulations to Alhaji Aliko Dangote. So yesterday, it sank in for me. Alhaji Aliko Dangote is worth about $20 billion. This refinery is $18.6 billion. He actually betted on himself. He staked his own personal life worth into this refinery. I just want that to marinate and to sink in. That a man will bet whatever is worth to be able to birth an idea that will transform the prospect of our country. That is a laudable act. Yes, a lot of people argue and say, okay, yeah, there was support here and there were loans here and there. But for the fact that he could stake everything, because it was a case of probability. If he had not gotten to this stage, things could have gone awry. But he decided to bet his worth and leverage what he was worth on this refinery. Kudos to him. And those are the kind of people we want in Nigeria. But you see, there's also the other part to it, which the government now needs to do. You see, what government fails to understand is that infrastructure is part of enabling business environments. You were talking about real estate that will spring up opportunities. Yes. Some people have been hedging. Some people have bought land long ago there. All right? But the truth is, where is the infrastructure that goes there? Where is the evacuation points? Where is the infrastructure? By now, we should have been seeing possibilities of things like rail in the future. But hopefully, I know the government will take a lease from this and be able to do it. Also, where is also the environmental campaign awareness as regards to environmental implications? Enabling environment is providing infrastructure too, and government should understand it. That's why people pay taxes. Just imagine how much government, the Lagos State government, we collect on payee for the over 40,000 members of staff in that refinery. Just imagine. So it's more money for the government. That's why government should support business venture, because in the end, it supports their own tax collection. Let's also move one step further. It has a storage capacity of well over 4 billion, and it's indeed going to meet our requirements. I think the number is 53 million liters of petrol it would churn out. Because if you fractionally distill 650,000 BPD per day, you would be able to do over 50 million liters of petrol. So I think the number is 53 million. And NNPC will consume about 50 million, which a lot of people say might be less than that, maybe about 40, 45, thereabout, minus smuggling, the ones that are smuggled out, because we know most of what comes into this country is also smuggled out. You need to go to some other African countries and be seeing Nigerian tankers here and there. Top Nigerian companies. That's why when we look at people lying to themselves, we just say, continue the lie. So it will indeed meet local demand. But my quibble is the fact that Nigeria does a little over 1 million barrels per day. And NNPC is promising 300,000 barrels. 300,000 barrels per day. So that's a sizable portion of what Nigeria does per day. How NNPC will ensure that the stock continues? But one thing is certain, it definitely has to get the fill-up stock to be able to fill up the 650,000 barrels per day. Ready stock is always the problem. It is not that there are no other modular refineries in Nigeria. There are other modular refineries doing well. Dangote is not a modular refinery, I should tell you. But there are other modular refineries, the likes of OPAC, but they don't get stock. Even if NNPC is going to say they're going to sell in dollars, and reaching dollars is a big problem. So stock is always the problem. So how NNPC can ensure we have more stock? And now that we've had a Dangote refinery and others coming on stream, we should be able to increase our daily output of production, at least to go over the 2 million mark. Thirdly, Dangote, Alhaji Aliko Dangote said something very important, and I would like to ask a question this morning, just before we go. He said in 2007, he tried buying up a refinery to rejig it and churn out more petrol in Nigeria. but the government returned their money and the deal didn't fall through. Why didn't that deal fall through? Because till today, those refineries have not gotten any better. The only thing NNPC has done is to constantly pay for incompetence, pay salaries of people that are not producing products. Why do we have a government that doesn't even allow private sector come in and revamp refineries and do a lot? Somebody needs to answer that question. Because you see, for federal government not giving the likes of Dangote the chance in 2007, you have just set us back 16 years. What if the likes of Dangote had turned out the refinery around, they've bought them 16 years ago? Are we going to be talking about the problems we're talking about today? That question is for the government to answer.